Hey, what's up? Hello, my name's Alexis, and welcome to my 2025 first quarter book wrap-up review sort of thing. I don't do these often, so bear with me, please. I just thought it'd be really fun to touch on and go over the 14 books that I've read so far between January and March. I'm filming this at the end of April, so I'm a little bit late to the game, but without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. So in the month of January, I actually ended up reading 4 books, which I've been making these fun little Instagram posts every month to just do like a monthly wrap-up. So the first 2 books that I read this year was actually Empire Storm and Tower of Dawn, which I ended up tandem reading. If you don't know what tandem reading is, it's whenever you read a certain amount of chapters in one book and then flip over to the next book and read a certain amount of chapters there because they're happening at the same exact time, basically. So I did that. That was my first time reading it tandemly like that. I've read the series before, and I actually wasn't reading the series at the end of 2024 or at all in 2024. My friend was just finishing up the series that we started back in 2023, and I was like, I might as well just finish it with you. Obviously, I can't go into much detail because they are the last couple books in the series, but Empire Storms I gave a 4 out of 5 stars, and Tower of Dawn I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. And I'm only going to say one word for that rating: ciao. And the next and third book that I read was Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. And I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. I think my first read of it, I gave it a 5 out of 5. But I think, I hate to say it, that I didn't feel like as much of a gut punch at the ending of everything coming undone, so I think that's why I ended up giving it 1 less star. And the fourth and last book that I read in January was actually Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, which was probably it was my biggest anticipation read of this whole year, of my whole existence since reading Iron Flame and Fourth Wing. Like a lot of other people, I was a big Fourth Wing fan. Iron Flame, I loved it, not as much as Fourth Wing was, but Onyx Storm, I don't want to say too much because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, and I know, well, probably not a lot of hate, but I just did not enjoy it. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It was going so well and everything, it was just, to me, I could not get behind it. I am still going to continue reading the series because I am just too invested in it. I was just so disappointed in it. In the month of February, I actually read 6 books, which I forgot to mention. All of these books I listened to on either Audible or Spotify, so I didn't physically read any of these books, to be honest. Either way, the first book that I read was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which I ended up giving a 4 out of 5 stars. The Cruel Prince is the first book in a young adult fantasy trilogy by Holly Black. I'm going to be so honest here, I am not the best at summarizing books, so I'm not really going to go into much detail about a lot of the books, but The Cruel Prince is the first in the trilogy. I think it's called The Folk of the Air, that follows a human named Jude and her attempt in living in the cruel world of the fairyland. I have read this trilogy before. I just really love rereading books. I don't know why, I've just been in the past couple of years, I've been in a mood of just rereading books that I loved from late high school, early college years. But then after that, I read The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I forget what year this is set in, but it's set in the 1990s, 19 something like that. And it follows basically this summer camp where a girl goes missing and we're just trying to figure out what happened to her. It's told in different perspectives of trying to figure out what happened to this girl. After that, I read the second book in the Cruel Prince series, which is The Wicked King, which I ended up giving a 3 out of 5 stars. I can't remember why I gave it that rating. I'm just gonna have to trust myself that it really was a 3 out of 5. And my next read, which is my first 5-star read, is The Lake of Lost Girls by Catherine Green. This book is more of a murder mystery book, and it follows our main character whose sister actually died a couple years ago when she was in college, and it's just now resurfacing again because more details have come out, and we're just following along as to our main character trying to figure out what happened to her sister, basically. And the plot twist at the end had me shook. I think this is the only book that I gave 5 stars so far, actually. And after that, I finished up the Cruel Prince trilogy with The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, and I also gave that a 3 out of 5 stars. The last book that I read in the month of February was a short audiobook that's exclusive to Audible, which was called Denali by Austin Bunn, and I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I genuinely feel like if it was an actual book that I would have really enjoyed it, but it was like 2 to 3 hours long. It was super rushed. You just kind of got thrown into it. But basically, we followed the aftermath of a group of friends trying to hike the mountain of Denali. And one of the characters have died, and there's some tension around it. It just feels like a clusterfuck, honestly. Going into March, I read 4 books, and I had a little bit of a darker theme going on here. The first book that I read in March was Gothic by Philip Fracassi. This is my first Gothic book, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I genuinely liked the story. There were parts of it where I just kind of was not interested, and it made me feel a little uncomfortable, honestly, with the theme and the things that were happening. If the angle or lighting has changed, I'm sorry, my camera died. But as I was saying, Gothic follows an older horror author, and he's feeling a little bit washed up. He's not having a lot of ideas. His writing isn't doing so well. His publisher is really grilling him. And so his girlfriend actually buys him a really old antique desk, and basically this antique desk has a very dark background. And a lot of things start happening. Basically, the author becomes possessed. But like I said, it got a little too uncomfortable at times for me, so that's why I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next we have One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gilling. One Dark Window I gave a 4 out of 5, and Two Twisted Crowns I gave a 3 out of 5. This is actually the second time that I've read this book within the year, just because the first time I listened to it, I really disliked the main character, especially in One Dark Window. It was a really big turnoff for me, and I couldn't, ever since that, I could not flip my brain to just enjoy the story. But I gave it a reread because I saw how so many people love this duology, and so it had everything that I want in a book, so I just gave it a reread, and I did enjoy it a lot more this time. It's funny because the first time that I read it, I actually liked Two Twisted Crowns more than the first one. This time I actually liked the first one better than the second one. If you don't know what this book is about, it follows our main character Elspeth, and she basically has a monster living inside her, but then she meets these group of people who actually need her help, and she uses this monster inside her to help aid them as well as aid herself, and we just continue from there. The second time around, I really did enjoy the romance in this book. And lastly, I did a 180 and read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I went into this book really not knowing much about it. I saw a picture of it on Instagram, I think, and I was like, that's a nice cover. Read the first 2 sentences of the summary, and I was like, sold. So I actually gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. But we follow our main characters Lucy and Aiden, which Lucy's daughter actually calls into Aiden's radio station. He hosts a show that's Baltimore's love hotline thing, where he basically gives dating advice and love advice, relationship advice, whatever. And Lucy's daughter actually calls in to get advice for her mom, and Lucy and Aiden just kind of hit it off while on the air, and it kind of just grows from there. I was really pleasantly surprised to like this book. It was just fun but still gave me all the feels, and it was a little bit spicy there towards the end, to tell you what. But yeah, those are the 14 books that I've read in my first quarter of 2025. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like. Let me know down in the comments what some of your favorite books that you've read so far are, and also subscribe if you're new.